Okay, this is my second go around with this, and I'm glad I waited to do it the second time because I've got a little issue to report with this Rubicon clone here. So this is a comparison of a real Spyderco Rubicon. It's a C187 series versus the Chinese cloned version of this knife. This should be an interesting review because most of the time the Chinese get the patterns millimeter per millimeter. They just get them right. But this one is an interesting knife comparison. And you know, you can come down either way on this one, but the clone is not an exact pattern for pattern copy of the real Rubicon, and there's some pluses and minuses of that. So this real Rubicon, you know, the cost on these things, you know, you're going to be $275, $285 out the door to get this just about any place. By the time you pay tax and shipping or whatever you got to pay on it, you're going to be somewhere up around close to $300. This guy right here, $22.99 shipped to your door, and you're going to be amazing what you can get for $22. Although this one's got an issue and they're replacing it, but and I got a good demonstration of the issue on that, or a showing of what it is. So let's go with the packaging. This is a large Spyderco box. I've never seen any Spyderco come in this big a box. So this is kind of a one-off thing that they did to put this Rubicon in. There's no barcode tags or anything with the model number or anything on it. And sometimes they do that on these knives that are kind of just strange one-off things or creations that they did that got a Spyderco logo. The box is well done, as most knockoff boxes are. If Spyderco is going to do a box, it would look, you know, as Obama would say, if I was going to do a Spyderco box, it would look just like this one. So, you know, if you were going to knock a box off, I mean, they get them perfectly, and that's because real and fake Spyderco boxes are all printed in China. So it's no surprise there that they're pretty much identical, and you can look at boxes like tea leaves. So here's the real Rubicon. It comes in this C12C pouch, and that's how it comes. It comes in this bubble wrap, which is a good quality bubble wrap. Chinese bubble wrap feels like it's been sitting in a dusty warehouse and it's dirty and gritty, and the bubbles are half popped and they just don't feel very good quality. They're all over the place. There's no pattern. So this is Spyderco bubble wrap. You can almost tell the clone from usually the bubble wrap if it's in bubble wrap, but they aren't always. Here's the Rubicon, and then the Rubicon's got the real Rubicon documentation. So let's get those off to the side there, and I'll show you the packaging on the fake, and then we'll go into the knives. I'll try to do this quick as I can, because this is going to be a long video no matter how I do it. I don't know what this is. We'll look at it in a second. It's in this Spyderco. I've never seen them in a box like this. Either the foam's cut out the shape, but I've seen a couple of clones like this. Put that off to the side. Check this out. I've never seen this before. It's a Ziploc bag. Who would have thought the Chinese had Ziploc bags? I've never seen. Usually they're in the cheapest, thinnest, crinkliest, nastiest cellophane, or they're in some cheap bubble wrap. But this is a Ziploc. Huh. Pull it out. I'm not going to show them to you side by side quite yet because I really want to find out what this is. This is like, must be a free gift or something. Sometimes I've seen them send Chris Reeves stuff with the knives. Let's see what this is. What does that say? Sinclair.com. Oh, is this one of those folding knives? This might be pretty cool, actually. Oh, it is. I saw somebody else got one of these. Let's see how you work this thing. It's a credit card knife. I don't know how to work this. I just happen to have seen them. Oh, okay. You turn this to unlock. This is a little plastic tab here that I guess you unlock the blade. Yeah. And then it must somehow swing out or around or something. If it's very sharp, I'm probably about to... Luckily, it's not too sharp, so I don't know how this works. I saw another guy get some kind of knockoff, and it came with one of these things. Huh. Anyhow, it's some kind of little credit card blade thing. So I'm not going to spend any time on that. Whatever. Okay, so let's go over these knives real quick here. I'm already 4 minutes into this, 5 minutes. the differences. And there are huge differences in these knives, unlike a lot of knockoffs. First of all, look at the size comparison. I mean, this is a behemoth. The other thing is, this is titanium. It's light as a feather. The real one, titanium and carbon fiber. This is G10, which is not a light substance, by the way. G10, you know, I'm not really, it's G10 and titanium certainly seem close, but when somebody puts massive G10 scales on things, it doesn't make them super light. I mean, so this has got thick G10 on it. It's got stainless steel liners, and then it's just massive. So it is a much heavier knife. Let's go to the tail of the tape real quick here and see how heavy this is. Comparison. Okay, grams for the real Spyderco is 116, 114, probably about 115. Let's see, let's do ounces on that. It's 4 ounces. Okay, grams on the fake, 200. So that was what, 85? That's about 3 ounces difference. 7. So 4 to 7 ounces. That's a little bit of difference there. You can feel it. This would be a monster to carry around in your pocket. 7-ounce knife, but it's good sized. I mean, it is, comparatively speaking, there's big differences here. So right off the bat, if you're going to look for a fake, you know, it's pretty obvious that if someone sends you an actual picture of the knife, that carbon fiber and some kind of strangely finished plasticky feeling G10 are different kinds of things. Because this is almost you know, it's kind of a weird feeling. The first one I got stunk like most things from China do, and I thought it was the plastic in here, but it aired out after a while. But this really, they say it's G10, I don't know, maybe it is. It's kind of finished pretty smooth. So it's just got a strange texture to it. The carbon fiber is rich, and it is just absolutely gorgeous on this knife. The G10 is not bad. You got to remember, this is a $23 knife shipped to your door from a foreign continent. So there's definitely differences in the clips. This is titanium. This is stainless steel. You know, this is shiny. This is stone washed like the rest of the, you know, the knife. You got this titanium scales. You can see a little difference in the color of the orange G10. Maybe you can appreciate it here. You can certainly see the titanium difference. No jimping on the top there. They both flip so easy you can get by without this jimping. You can see the dragon's back here. It kind of looks like a dragon's back. Now this is fairly smooth across here. These things are sharp. And that's one of the things I'm going to get out a knock of this knife, which is, boy, it's light, it's beautifully made. The G10 is, you know, this is kind of a washed out orange color. This is really finished shiny and sharp and crisp. The hardware is sunk. You can't feel it on this one. It rises a little proud on this one. In a way, I think that's a better thing, because when your finger runs across here, it's pretty smooth. When it runs across here, you can't feel the metal, but you're hitting this sharp G10. And that gives me the underlying theme to this knife, which is sharp. It feels like an AK-47. If you've, you know, the first time you pick up an AK-47, you're like, I've got to handle this thing with gloves, because every edge on it is wanting to bite me. And that's how this knife is. Every edge on here, the carbon fiber edges are sharp. The titanium edges are sharp. Even the edges of the carbon fiber are made so sharp, they could have just taken, they didn't have to round it. If they wanted to leave an edge there, they could have just buffed it off a little more. But you know, when you pick it up, you feel edges all over this thing. These things, the edges of the flipper right here are sharp. That's very sharp. The edge of the knife blade, I mean, you can do some filing with this thing. That edge is, you could cut yourself on this edge right here. Same thing with this edge. The clone is not been super rounded, but they have broke the edges over a little bit. Not much, because they're trying to copy this knife, so they left these things pretty sharp. But if you look at the light reflecting on that edge there, you may see that you can see that edge is just like a knife blade right there. I think they should have knocked these edges off. The spider hole is sharp. This edge is super sharp. So is this one. All these edges are sharp. The front edges of the carbon fiber right here are super sharp. I mean, that, wow. This guy, you see what they did? And they really kind of improved some edges on this. These edges, the spines, you know, they're there, but they're not near as, I hope that's in focus. They're not like this. These are teeth. Now, these teeth, you know, they kind of got a little bite like the rest of this thing does. You know, somebody could say, well, you're nitpicking here, but let me show you something that's not a nitpick, and it makes this knife extremely painful to do much with. Is this tooth right here. These edges are sharp, very sharp, but you're too busy bleeding from these edges, that these right here you forget about. Because that little tooth right there, when you if you hold it like this, every edge of this thing is digging in across your palm, and then this has got some serious bite to it. I'm going to keep one of these Rubicons I've got, real ones, and I'm probably going to take this whole knife apart and get somebody to tell me that. Obviously, I'm just going to take down and probably make it even, but I'm probably going to round off all these other edges here. Same thing with here. I'm going to probably deburr this thing, dehorn it. And I think it'll be a superb knife at that point. But I'm going to do the edges of all this stuff. Take my time, because this is a knife that you probably don't want to have it look like, you know, Bubba did it. And I'm going to try not to do that. But I do a lot of Bubba stuff, so it'll probably look like that. But I think this would be an awesome knife if you didn't have these edges on it. So back to Mr. Clone. See how rounded that is? All these edges are, so when you pick this knife up, even though, you know, it's got these ridges here and you feel them, but these things aren't just trying to draw blood like the other ones are. You can flip this thing super easy. I'm no flip expert, but this thing is so smooth, both of them are. The locks are nice on them. The blade locks up nice on these Rubicon fakes. It flips, you know, just super fast and super slick, and then you feel like you've got this monster blade swing in there, so it just, boom, it just comes right out because you got so much weight there. The thing I don't like is what everybody is doing here is they're trying to make it where there's not a cutout visible, so they try to make these cutouts in here for fashion's sake, which are pretty bad functionally. And I've got a lot of knives. This started with the first one I got that was like this was the Gale Bradley. I sent it away and have it routed out here and fix this so you can access the lock easily. You can't access the lock. This is the newest thing, so that they have I guess they think that's a sexy profile to not have the lock sticking out where you can easily get to it, which means that you got to kind of dig in here with either the flesh, which is hard because these are teeth, or you got to get your nail in there and hook it in. This guy is the same way, of course, because they tried to copy it. It's got sharper teeth on it. Actually, it sticks out a little more on the real one, but the teeth are sharper, as are everything on this knife. Beautiful knife, locks up nice. So, you know, if you don't have $300 almost to go for this guy, which is just beautiful, believe me, other than the fact it is a monster to carry, and then you got to want a poser knife, because that's what this knife is to me. It's not a very usable knife. It's not going to be a great slicer. It's just got this monstrously thick, fat, thick blade. It's not really useful for a lot of things. You know, it doesn't have enough reach to really be a super defensive knife, although it's got a nice, you know, protection area here, you know, where your hand's locked in on this one. This one, you'd hate to get in a fight with this thing, because number one, it's super short, and number two, the knife is fighting you back because it's trying to bite you as hard as it's trying to bite the other guy. But this is quite the thing here for $22.99. These things run from like $22.99 to $23, $24.99. Spyderco is really cracking down on these guys. So now, if they advertise Spyderco on anything, you're going to have a difficult time finding their knives on DHgate or AliExpress. You basically have to either shorten it to Spyder something, or the ideal way to always find something there is this is a C187. So if you type in C187 knife, you'll find this. I'm probably going to cut their throats here because Spyderco will, continue to go after these guys because they're really cracking down on copyright infringement on AliExpress. The blade is, it's okay. It's probably about the same sharpness. You can see the markings on there. It's probably about the same sharpness as the real Spyderco. This is not a particularly super sharp Spyderco series. God, I'm way over on this knife longer than that. Especially, I've got to go one more piece here, which is, I'm going to have you explain to the problem I had with the, this is a little sharper. A problem I had, the Spyderco logo is obviously better on the real one. The clones are real flat and two-dimensional. And always, a lot of times, especially the Taiwan ones, there's a three-dimensional kind of aspect to the etching of the Spyder. So I got a problem with this clone here, and I'm going to do a tack on video here. And then I'll come back. So what it is I got one and it was perfect, and then I got this one, and as you open it, it felt like it was like the bearings were running across railroad tracks. Bump, 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 bump. Really rough. So I thought, that's strange. It still flipped good and everything, and that's this one. It still feels good and everything, but it's got this roughness to it. So I'm going to take this knife apart, and I'm going to show you what's wrong with it. And then I'll show you the inside of the knife, and then I'll put it back together, and then I'll just come back briefly. So right now I'm going to segue. God, I'm at 16 minutes and 38 seconds. I'm going to segue to the takedown video on this and show you what's wrong with this knife and why I'm having them replace it. Even though it feels okay, but it's got a problem in it. And I thought either there was a bearing loose in there, maybe the bearing race had broken or something like that. But I'll show you what's wrong with it. Thank you. Okay, third time's the charm on this video. I just got a Rubicon clone. It's my second Rubicon clone in the mail today, and it was very notchy and was noisy and grabby. The blade was grabby right off the get-go. First one I got was smooth as silk, had zero issues. I normally don't take these knives apart because typically my experience with them is that everything they're screwed into is soft and all the fasteners are soft, so your chances of having a problem taking them apart and putting them together is pretty, you're just going to have problems getting them apart. The heads are going to be soft, the threads are going to want to rip out of them when you try to put any torque on them, because if they over-torqued them at all and put them in too tight, then you're going to tear them up getting them out. And then when you try to get them back in, you found out at the factory that they probably put them in too tight and tore the threads out when they put them together. But that being said, I did find out what's wrong with this knife. And what it is at first, it's got a captured bearing system in it, like a lot of the knives, whether this is called KVTS or something, BS or something like that. Here is the bearing system in it. It's got one on each side of the blade. I thought maybe one of these bearings, the race had broken, it holds the bearings or something, and maybe the bearings were jumping around on each other and weren't running very smooth. But that's not the case. The bearings run fine. Nicely made blade. Very simple system like most of these things there. It's very similar to the ZTs and all the other ones out there. So here's the problem, though, that I just ran into. Is if you look at, where's it at? Yeah, there it is. Is that there on this side of the liner, it's got a little bushing. And if you look at the bushing, you can see where they over-tightened the knife when they were putting together the pivot point on it. They over-tightened it, and it's a soft aluminum bushing on there, and they smashed a race in it, and they smashed bearing marks in it. So when the bearings ride over those little divots, it goes clunk, 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 and it is not the experience I had with the first one. And if I pull this bushing off and look at the other side, you can see where it's pushed a little positive. This is a negative trough and negative holes, and it's got positive trough and positive holes on the other side. So switching the bushing around is not going to help. On the other liner, this is the side opposite of the clip. This is stainless steel. They don't have a bushing on this side. I'm trying to get as close as I can here. Come on. There you go. You can see the same tracks and the same bearing marks. This was in stainless, so they actually pushed those ball bearings between the blade and the stainless liner. They dimpled this liner and made these little bump, 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 bump as the, it's like speed bumps when the bearings go across them now. And probably, I don't know, it depends on how hard the bearings are. The bearings may have some flat spots on them as well. So as far as I'm concerned, both the liner, this liner, the bushing, and the bearings are all suspect in this knife and would have to be replaced. So I'm going to be talking to them today. I just got it and unpackaged it a little while ago. So since I've messed up the video so many times, shooting additional photographs to send to the AliExpress people, because you have to document this thing that you want your money back or you want another knife, I'm going to, I will be able to put this thing back together in front of you. It's very simple how it goes together. So this little guy goes on here. Let's see. Oops, I put the bushing on wrong. The bushing should go on the pivot pin, not on the stop pin up there. That's what happens when you're trying to do this in the camera. Okay, so that goes like that. This little piece fits on kind of snug on the stop pin. There we go. Let me just look at this. Looks like it's got a little, looks like it's not quite together. There we go. I think that it's got a little bit, see that little space there. I think that's why they maybe over torqued it a little bit, was because getting that to squeeze down was causing them some trouble and they end up over torquing it. This guy back on. You will need a T6 to get these apart. Let's see. Little itsy bitsy torque bit. And then I don't know which size the Owen is, maybe a T8 for the pivot. It's pretty small too. Being nearsighted and in a camera with astigmatism isn't helping. So those are in there so-so. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, looks pretty well approximated. This is the part they had a little problem with. Actually, since I've got the pivot pin in there loose, you don't have near the problem it had. If it had a new bushing system and everything, and it's tight with lockup too. Really, just now that I've loosened up the pivot pin some, where it's not over tightened, you really don't feel those things, but I'm still going to talk to them about it. Just put a little bit of tightness on here. You know, having broken a lot of fasteners in my life working on engines when I was young, my dad was an aircraft mechanic and would always give me some pointers like, don't force that thing, get a bigger hammer. He was trying to tell me that you're about to break something, and I broke off all kinds of things, and my dad was an excellent extractor because he'd been an aircraft mechanic and he could extract anything, any fastener. But I've learned that, you know, if you're not trying to keep something in or out, you don't need to over-tighten things. So, actually it works pretty good now that I loosen it up and it's not tight, tight, tight on those tracks. So, I'm amazed that it came around as well as it did. The thing I don't like about this knife is how they're trying not to show you a cutout to get to the lock on all these knives, and so for fashion, and that makes it very difficult to get to the lock release on these things. I really don't like they do that. I had a Gale Bradley Spyderco that I sent away and had it notched out. did all of Gail Bradley's work I defeated by sending it to a machinist. So if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to ask. I didn't mean to run 8 minutes on this documentation video of the problem, but really my experience with the other Rubicon was it was perfect. And this one feels much better now that I put it back together and just not over tightened this, because it must have been way too tight when I got it out of the box and it dimpled it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that takedown video and the problem with this, what I showed. If you have any questions about these knives, feel free to call me a communist because I'm buying copyright infringed knives. I'm going to tell you, I don't keep these knives. I get rid of them in some fashion. I give them to people that don't have knives or kids or something like that. But this is the knife I'll keep. I'm not somebody that would carry a fake Spyderco or a fake knife in general. I've only kept one fake, and that was a Hinderer knockoff of an XM18 Hinderer, and I'm looking at those Shirogorov knives because I'm not going to pay $1,000 for a knife, and those knockoffs look pretty good. But the Spydercos, I'm really, even though these are very good knives, I appreciate the extra you get in really good steel and really good workings and makings, and also the company's been pretty good with any dealings I've had to do with them. So, but let me tell you, for $23 to $25, and you want a nice poser knife, this is it. And they're basically stealing these guys' designs and market them for little or nothing. It's amazing what you can get for $23 from them compared to what you used to get for like $20 from Chinese knives. I mean, it wasn't worth bringing home. But these are really nice, and please post your questions and comments. I'll respond to them. Thank you.